I've been engaged to my fiancée, Sarah, 30, for about 6 months, and we're getting married next month, but recent events have thrown everything into disarray. For some background, I have a younger sister, Emily, 29, who I haven't spoken to in over 8 years. Emily and I never got along growing up, and our parents always tried to force us to get married. My fiancé invited my sister, who ruined my career, to our wedding against my wishes, so I cancelled it, and now my family is against me. Be close, but we just kept fighting. She was very competitive and always tried to outdo me in everything. It started when we were kids. For example, when Emily was 7 and I was 10, I won a spelling bee at school, and my parents were so proud that they took us out for ice cream to celebrate. Emily threw a fit in the ice cream shop, demanding that our parents test her there in the store to prove it. As we grew older, it was embarrassing. When I started dating in high school, Emily would try to flirt with any girl I was interested in. It was exhausting and made me dread coming home most days. Our parents tried to step in, but nothing seemed to work, so they sent us to family therapy when I was 16 and Emily was 13, but Emily refused to participate, just sitting silently through the sessions. If I got an A on the test, she would study for days to get an A. If I made the soccer team, she would suddenly develop an interest in soccer and try out too. I recently graduated from college and got my dream job at a prestigious tech company. It was an amazing opportunity with a great salary, amazing benefits, and the chance to work on cutting-edge projects. I was overjoyed. Emily was still in college at the time, struggling to figure out her career path. She had changed majors 3 times already, and she was on academic probation when I told my family about the job offer over dinner. Emily's parents said she couldn't help if she wasn't willing to engage. My parents tried to calm her down, but she was so upset that she stormed out of the house, slamming the door so hard that a picture fell off the wall. Later that night, I overheard Emily on the phone with one of her friends, saying she was going to get revenge on me and knock me down. She started screaming at me, accusing me of constantly overshadowing her and ruining her life. She said things like, "You always have to be the golden child, don't you? And why don't you just die so I can finally have a chance to shine?" Emily had always been dramatic and made empty threats when she was upset, so I didn't think much of it at the time. However, a few days later, as I was preparing to start my new job, I received a call from HR stating that they were rescinding the offer because apparently someone had sent them a number of phony emails from an account in my name that were full of racist and sexist remarks. They also received phony social media posts that showed me saying terrible things. I was devastated and knew right away that Emily was the only one responsible. When I confronted her, she denied it at first but later admitted that she had made the fake accounts to sabotage my job offer. She claimed she was tired of living in my shadow and that she just wanted me to fail at something for once. She seemed almost proud of what she had done, as if she had finally defeated me at something. I was devastated and furious that my own sister would do something so cruel. This wasn't just sibling rivalry. In the 8 years since then, I've had no contact with Emily. My parents still see her occasionally, but they know better than to bring her up around me. It took a lot of work to rebuild my career after that setback. I had to take a much lower paying job at first and gradually work my way back up. She had actively tried to ruin my career and reputation, so I told her I never wanted to see or speak to her again and moved out that same day. I also crashed on a friend's couch for a few weeks while I was figuring out what to do next. Build a good life for myself, and now I have a great job at another tech company, amazing friends, and of course Sarah. We met through a mutual friend about 4 years ago, and we clicked right away. Sarah was smart, funny, and incredibly kind. On our 3rd date, I told Sarah about the situation with Emily, and she was understanding and sympathetic, saying that family can be complicated and that she respected my decision to cut contact. When Sarah and I got engaged 6 months ago, I made it clear that Emily would not be invited to the wedding under the terms of our agreement. At first, Sarah seemed understanding, but as we talked more about the wedding planning, she began to push back. She kept saying things like, "But she's your sister. Don't you think it's time to forgive and move on?" I told her that this wasn't something we should discuss and that having Emily there would ruin what should have been the happiest day of our lives. Usually, Sarah would stop talking after I explained, but I could tell she wasn't. Sarah and I had a heated argument about it last week. We were reviewing the guest list when she brought up Emily again. This time, she wouldn't let it go, accusing me of being obstinate and saying that I was punishing Emily for a mistake she made years ago. I tried to reiterate how deeply her betrayal had hurt me, but Sarah didn't understand. She even had the audacity to suggest that perhaps Emily had changed and deserved another chance. When I asked Sarah how she would feel if someone had purposefully attempted to destroy her reputation and career, she said Sarah looked shocked, but I don't think she expected me to push back so hard. I told her bluntly that as she invited Emily behind my back, the wedding was off, and things have been tense between us ever since. She would be hurt too, but that family was too important to cut off forever. I lost my temper at that point and told Sarah that Emily wasn't just family. She was someone who had tried to ruin my life out of pure jealousy and spite. I love Sarah, and the idea of calling off the wedding breaks my heart, but I also can't imagine having to see Emily on what should be the happiest day of my life. The mere thought of her being there makes me feel sick to my stomach, so Reddit AA for me. Some of our mutual friends have taken her side, calling me irrational and saying that weddings are about bringing families together, but they don't understand the depth of hurt and betrayal I've experienced. Update 1. It's been about a week since I made my original post, and a lot has happened since then. I want to thank everyone for their advice and input because reading through the comments really helped me gain some clarity on the situation. The day after I made the post, Sarah and I had another major argument about Emily, and she insisted that I stand my ground even if it means losing Sarah. I'm really torn about this and could use some outside perspective. Sarah then dropped a bombshell admitting that she had already contacted Emily behind my back. It turns out that Sarah had discovered Emily on social media a few months prior and had been messaging her frequently, claiming she was just trying to better understand the situation. I felt completely betrayed, so I asked Sarah point blank if she had already invited Emily to the wedding. Sarah said that family is important and that I should at least consider inviting Emily to the wedding. Hesitated before acknowledging that yes, she had told Emily she was welcome to come. I was furious and told Sarah that she had seriously betrayed my trust by acting behind my back. She attempted to defend herself by saying she believed she was acting appropriately, but I wouldn't have it. I told her the wedding was off and asked her to vacate our apartment. Sarah was shocked. I don't think she expected me to actually carry out the cancellation of the wedding. She began to cry and beg me to change my mind, saying she loved me and only because she loved me. She's been staying with a friend for the past few days after I helped her pack up some essentials, but I've been dealing with the fallout from calling off a wedding on short notice. Most of our friends and family have been understanding once I explained the situation, but Sarah's family is upset with me. Her mom called me a heartless monster for destroying our relationship over petty sibling drama, and Sarah's brother, with whom I used to be close, sent me a lengthy text message telling me I was making the worst mistake of my life. I genuinely love Sarah, and we've built a life together for the past 4 years. We had many plans for the future, including buying a house next year and starting a family in a few years. Now that everything is gone, I've been thinking back on our relationship and wondering if there were any indications that I missed Sarah. She always understood how I felt about Emily, but she would sometimes comment on how sad it was that we didn't talk. I've also had to deal with Emily trying to get in touch with me. She sent me a lengthy email apologizing for her past actions and saying she hopes we can reconcile. She wrote about how much she's changed and how she's been in therapy for years working on her issues. Perhaps if I had been more open to discussing it, things wouldn't have gotten to this point. But then I remind myself that Sarah knew how important this was to me and chose to disregard my feelings anyhow. My parents have been calling me constantly, pleading with me to change my mind. They say that this could be an opportunity for the entire family to move on, but they don't seem to understand how deeply hurt I am. They've always tried to minimize the rivalry between Emily and me, acting as though it was just typical sibling rivalry, but what Emily did went far beyond that. For the time being, I'm concentrating on taking care of myself. So I've thrown myself into work and I know I made the right decision in standing up for myself. and I deserve a partner who respects my boundaries and doesn't try to force a relationship with someone who hurt me so deeply. I've been spending a lot of time with friends, but it's difficult because I keep expecting to see Sarah when I get home or wake up reaching for her in bed. I'm not sure what the future holds, but part of me hopes that Sarah will realize her mistake and come apologize. But even if she did, I'm not sure I could trust her again for the time being. While things have somewhat calmed down since my last update, there have been some new developments that I wanted to share. Last week, Sarah moved her last belongings out of our apartment. It was a difficult day, and we both got emotional as we said our final goodbyes. Despite everything, there's still a lot of love there, but I know that ending things was the right decision. Sarah acknowledged that she now understands how wrong it was to go behind my back, but as she was leaving, she told me that the trust had been betrayed. I've had to block Emily's number and email address after my last update because she started sending me a ton of messages, some of which were apologetic and others of which were angry and accusatory. In one particularly nasty email, she claimed that I was punishing her. She also expressed her hope that one day I'll be able to forgive both her and Emily. She said that holding on to anger only hurts me in the long run. I know she meant well, but it felt like she wasn't really hearing me. The hardest part has been dealing with my parents, who are upset that I called off the wedding and are constantly trying to persuade me to make amends with both Sarah and Emily. Last weekend, they invited me over for dinner, but when I arrived, I discovered that they had invited Emily as well in an attempt to force a reconciliation. I left right away and haven't spoken to them since. I'm hurt that my parents. On a more positive note, I've started dating someone new. It's very casual right now, but it feels good to be moving forward. Her name is Rachel, and we met at a friend's barbecue. She knows about my family situation and has been really understanding. Would they ambush me like that? They know how I feel about the situation with Emily, but they chose to completely disregard my feelings. It's bringing up a lot of old resentments about how they handled things when we were kids. Supportive and understanding. It's nice to be with someone who doesn't question my boundaries. I'm also pursuing new interests and hobbies. I've started rock climbing and been going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, which helps me release my frustrations and decompress. I've also been learning how to cook after realizing that I needed to learn how to take care of myself after Sarah had provided the majority of our meals. It's been enjoyable trying out new recipes and cooking methods. I've also taken on some new, difficult, but rewarding projects, and my boss has been very understanding about everything. As I manage all of this, I still miss Sarah and our life together. The other day, I came across an old picture of us on vacation last year, and for a second, I wanted to call her, but then I reminded myself why things ended and why it's better this way. As for Emily, I still don't want to make amends with some people. Have advised me to at least listen to her and see if she has truly changed, but I'm not willing to take the chance of exposing myself to that suffering once more. Perhaps in the distant future, I'll feel differently, but for now, I'm content with my choice overall. Although this has been a really trying time, I feel like I'm emerging stronger because I stood my ground and didn't compromise on my principles. I know there will still be difficult days ahead, but I'm being cautious, hopeful for the future.